Welcome back to my channel, Stitching Addicted. My name's Tania. I didn't expect to have another video so quickly. I just wanted to show you a piece. This is my Stitch With Me. I hope you've got a drink. I didn't show you Archer by Esmira, which is a Paine free craft piece. This is this piece. I reached 50% the last time I stitched on it. I should insert a picture that I should have inserted last time, and I stitched on it this morning and stitched here, and I got to 50.80. Just started raining. So I'm really happy with this. I haven't quite finished the second row of pages at the bottom because of her quiver. Coco. Sorry, she's knocking the tripod. The quiver there, that is in the second row of pages. Once I've done that little bit, I will have finished the second row of pages. This is on a 25 count and it's 1/1. Unfortunately, due to my eyesight, I am finding it quite hard to see. So you'll find in my Stitch With Me, I and ah about where the hoe is, even with ballpoint needles. So if I'm looking outside, it's just started to pour down. So she is amazing. The details in her is fantastic. I haven't been disappointed with any of my Paine free craft pieces. Yesterday what arrived was two 1 meter pieces of 18 count. Both pieces were overlocked. I don't know if you can see. The lighting's weird because it's overcast and raining. So they arrived. So one of the pieces is going to go with the apples with my August Dragon, the Sheena Pike one that isn't retired. It was retired because Sheena Pike left Heaven and Earth Designs, but she's obviously come back. And my other piece, which I have done all the thread drops for, is for my All Hallows Eve. That's what the pumpkins are for, even though they're not orange. This piece has more purples on it, so really I should have done all purples, but I didn't. So I have I think it's called a contoured keyring, something like that. I bought it from Mighty Ape here in New Zealand. They only had one, and that's all I got. I have bought some bigger rings, these sort of rings, from AliExpress. I actually bought 8 centimetre and 10 centimetre ones. So I think this is a 5 centimetre ring. So they're meant to arrive by the 10th of September. So we will see. So I will add in after this my Stitch With Me. So grab a drink and I hope you enjoy that. And any comments that I got from my last video, I'm sure I don't look as tired as I did yesterday. Hopefully I'll explain that. And a few other comments that I got yesterday I'll explain in my while I stitch. So thank you. Bye. The reason I looked so tired yesterday was because David was finding that my alarm clock on my side was too bright and it was annoying him at night when he rolled over towards my direction. So I unplugged my alarm clock. I didn't think it would bother me, but during the night I kept wanting to look at the time to see what time it was. So I had a very unsettled night because I didn't know what time it was. And then Dave got up early because he had a very big day helping at Point Estate, the winter grazing, because a lot of the stock was leaving yesterday. So he decided that since he wasn't sleeping, I think I gave him a very bad night. I was tossing and turning all night. He decided that he would leave. So he got up and left at about 6:45. And then his alarm clock went off at 7 o'clock. So I had to get out of bed and turn his alarm clock off. So, of course, once I got up, that's it. I'm totally awake and I can't go back to sleep. So, of course, the day before, I had a bad night as well. And since Dave wasn't here, I thought, I can have a sleep in. And, of course, Brendan texted me to say that the ambulance was on the way. So, there was my sleep in. That had gone. And I think I stressed most of the day because I couldn't contact Dave to tell him that he needed to pick up Brendan from the hospital, even though in the end I texted the guy that is the manager of the farm that he's on, but I felt really terrible all day actually contacting him because it was his wedding anniversary, so he wasn't working. So I felt horrible all day actually having to contact him. So, yeah, that wasn't the greatest day. So I was thinking yesterday, I'll have a sleep in and then I'll do my video. But that's not what really happened. So you won't hear the 3D printer today because I finished my apples. So I have all the threads ready to go on those thread drops, and I have the fabric has arrived. I'm going to actually put it on the easy count because I think that because it's so bright, I think it will pop on the white anyway. But I have decided that I'm not going to start it at the moment anyway. I think the only piece I will start is All Hallows Eve. I just have to decide whether I want to start the mini or I want to start the regular size, because I have both patterns. I did kit it up for the mini, but I'm having second thoughts about whether I really want to stitch the mini. Especially the Keystone Stitcher has just done a regular, the Snow White one, Alice in Wonderland. I'm really sorry if I've just called it the wrong name. And she's quite disappointed with the details on that. I don't know if it's just we're seeing it too close. And yeah, and I think I might be really disappointed with the details on the All Hallows Eve if I do it as mini. I actually think I will be disappointed. I just have to work out what I was going to put on a 20 count because I think it's got a lot of darker colours. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll have to just see how many more threads I'll need. I think I've decided. So that's a lot. It's going to take me a wee while to do that. As you can see, I've just decided that maybe I should just hold it instead of having it in the Lowry stand because maybe my camera is bouncing. I'm not sure. Okay, 3D printer case. Yes. I think you'll be alright no matter what, because your son, I think, I may be incorrect, has an IT degree, and my son has an IT degree, and he helps me a lot with my 3D printer. So I think if you have somebody technology minded, it helps tremendously. So if you know somebody that can help you in that aspect, that is a big help. So he helps me a lot. Is a lot of times when I'm doing my model and I go, why is it doing this? And he'll go, because it's floating in the air. And I'll go, really? And there's a lot of things like that he helps me a lot with. The cheaper ones, I couldn't get it level, and some of it could have been my eyesight as well. So, but admittedly, Brendan had issues doing it too. But he hasn't got, his right arm is, it's his right shoulder that keeps dislocating. So he hasn't got his control of his right arm as much. So with the Creality one, it was easy to dislocate his shoulder just by turning the knobs. So that didn't really help either. So we had to look at different options. The other thing that you can do is on Facebook, you can look at 3D printing groups that you can join. So you can look at what problems that people were having. I know there's a Creality group, and they're not that expensive. You can get different models. You got to remember, when I say it's 3,000 here, that might be only 1,500 in the US. So because you always have to double the figure for New Zealand dollars from the US dollars, if that makes sense. So it also depends what you're going to 3D print. I think because it's not that thick, the models of the thread drops, I think it's quite a detailed item. So if your 3D printer is just out a little bit, you can really notice it. But maybe I'm quite fussy too. But I really do like my one that I've got at the moment. And you'll notice that you won't even hear the printer today, because I printed those apples yesterday and I've got the whole lot done, and I don't need to do any more. And the day before I did all my pumpkins, so I'm completely finished for those two projects. And the advantage of having your own printer is that you can just print them as you like, as you need them. As for Brendan, he's on the waiting list to get his shoulder operated on. But he got told it's anywhere between 6 months to a year. So how long it's really going to take, don't know. If they'd only done it 6 years ago, instead of waiting so long, they kept telling him that it would do more damage if he had a seizure than he would have to have reconstruction. I've never understood that, for the simple reason that his left shoulder, his first seizure that he had, he fractured the shoulder. When he had the seizure, they put a steel screw in it or something at the time. He's never ever dislocated it again. Nothing's happened to it. He's had multiple seizures and it's not been an issue. But his right arm has been an endless issue, at least 2 seizures or 2 dislocations a month, possibly more. When he starts dislocating it like he is at the moment, it's frequent. Like it could be every few days. He can have a cycle of that, which is quite problematic. And then it will settle down and it will go back to just once every a few weeks. So it's very painful for him, and it's very painful for them to get it back in, and it's very problematic. They have to sedate him now. It's not easy for them to get it back in. The local hospital here, which is a geriatric hospital and medical centre, the medical centre will not accept him to put it back in. He has to go to Dunedin, which is an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half in the ambulance. When they came, they said, well, what is the plan going forward? We are not happy with having to come all the time. And I said, I understand that, but it's not a choice. My husband's working. I can't drive. What do we do? You know, and they said, well, can't you get somebody else to take him? And I'm going, no, everybody else we know is working. You can't expect somebody else to take time off work to take him to Dunedin and wait. It's not just an hour, it's like 4 or 5 hours at least that he's at the hospital. So no, it is very frustrating for everybody concerned, and I don't think it's helped my MS. I think it has definitely affected it with the stress. It's a constant stress. Every time he comes in, I go, oh no, here we go again. And you look at his shoulder, it always looks dropped, as if he's actually put it out again. And the surgeon was saying that long term he's going to have arthritis in the shoulder and they might have to fuse it later on. No kidding. He's got so much damage and bone damage from dislocating it so frequently. If only they'd done something years ago. So the kitchen people still have not turned up. They rang up last week to say that they were going to turn up this week. It is now Wednesday. I guess they may turn up yet. I think we've decided that we might even get a portable pantry that I can push around to where I want it because the kitchen isn't big enough, and I can just push it out of the way into the spare room as needed. And we're going to just get drawers put in cupboards, and I'm going to get my bigger dishwasher because I hate the smaller mini dishwasher that we put in here when Brendan was living here, when he was able to live on his own. So we're wondering if he'll ever be able to live on his own again. Not sure that will ever happen. I did my stitch with me today because I got the log burner going first thing this morning because it was a bit chilly, and Coco was lying in front of the log burner, and I thought, well, this is a perfect chance to actually do a stitch with me and stitch without Coco having to be in the video. No technical difficulties. So I have to laugh about her. So I'm going to tie with my normal glasses later on today, and I have some magnifying clip-ons. So I'm going to see if that works. I just have to, I know they're in a box. I've seen them recently. I just have to have a look for them because my normal glasses are for distance. So I don't know if that will work or not. Because the magnifier, I find, gives me a bit of a headache, and I am not going to my pieces, my 25 count pieces at the moment. They're not my preference, but I really need to get them completed. Like I say, this is just over 50%, so I've still got a lot to go to get it completed. And literature is only at 46%, I think. So, and I've got other pieces on 25 count as well. So I've also got that lake cabin piece that I really want to start sooner than later. I might even start that before I start that dragon, because it's a huge regular size. That might be a New Year's start, maybe possibly. I don't really want to start many more pieces this year. Just my All Hallows Eve, because I feel that I'm pretty sure I have 29. I had a knot. I have 29 whips at the moment. I think that might be my max. 30 is going to be my max. That's All Hallows Eve. So I need to get some things completed. So what I'm going to go on to this afternoon is going to definitely be my Cosmic Wolf. I only stitch on my 25 count pieces in the morning for a couple of hours at the most. By then my eyes are really tired and I can't stitch on them much longer. At first, when I started the infusions, I just felt a wee bit sick, and I expected that, but I thought they said that just the first few infusions it should be like that, but I should get used to it and it shouldn't be so bad. But I'm actually finding that I'm getting worse instead of better. This last time was definitely worse, but the last time I drank nearly a litre while I was having the infusion, and I think that might have been some of my issue, whereas previously I drank a lot before my infusion. So I think I'm going to go back to that way next time. My infusions I have every 6 weeks. So I normally have the week before my infusion, I'm normally feeling pretty blah, and I definitely feel that I'm ready for the infusion, and then I feel the week after my infusion I feel blah again, but I'm starting to feel a lot better, and I'm starting to feel a lot more energetic, and my walking's a lot better. And I was taking vertigo tablets, and I'm not needing them now. And I even vacuumed the whole house yesterday. So I did the dishes as well. I actually haven't done the dishes for ages. So I think it is helping, which is hard to believe after how sick I was. I think they did give me steroids in my drip that I had. They were talking about putting me in hospital. But at the time it was like, I don't care. I was feeling so sick. But I'm feeling a lot better now, and I'm pleased that I said no at the time, because when I rang up the neurology and told them that I was quite yellow and I wasn't feeling well and that I had to go and get blood tests and things done, they were saying, and I said that maybe it's just due to stress and everything, because our son had just had the ambulance pick him up and take him away. And they said that I should have gone with him and they would have found a bed for me. And I was like, really? I didn't think I was that bad, but I didn't think it was that serious. but by all accounts, the Tysabri can affect your liver and kidneys. So, who knew? They seem to stress more than I do. But all in all, I do feel back to normal, and I think it was just a bad few days. And Dave this is his last day today. I think he's quite happy it's his last day. He was running across the paddock yesterday after a calf, and he was quite sore last night. So I think he was relieved that today is his last day. So, yeah. I really want to get this piece finished by the end of next year. So I need to keep working on her this year and get a lot more progress on her to make it. So I'm sure it's taken me 2 years to get to this 50% or a year and a half. So I need to keep pushing on her, on Archer, and actually get her done. So to make it so I'm not pushing all next year to complete her. Especially if my eyesight is deteriorating like it feels like it is. I will know at the end of next month because I have to go get my eyes checked on the 28th of August. All these appointments. But that's the joys of, I got another letter for another appointment yesterday, and Dave goes, really? Another one? I go, yeah, the joys of getting old. And he goes, I don't get any. I'm going, it's just as well. You're going to the hospital enough as it is between me and Brendan. So his he couldn't get sawdust for his calf pens, and he got bark chips for them this morning. They arrived. So I think he was really pleased for that. And it means that he can complete his calf pens and put the sides on them and that sort of thing, be prepared for when he gets calves, because before we know it, the calves will be popping out. That's why he was chasing after a calf. Most people calve from the 5th of August here. So he's talking about buying some A2 heifers. It's like, oh goodness, here we go again. I think he's decided the Red Devons are a bust. They're not worth buying. So all I can say is thank goodness. I'm a bit over them. It didn't seem worth it. He hasn't been able to record some of them, and he was meant to be able to. So yeah, it's been quite frustrating, the whole thing. Look, it's coming out sunny now. So much of the rain that was pouring down before, it does look towards the hills that it is still raining, so I'm sure Dave's getting wet. I did tell him this morning to take his wet weather gear, and he was telling me it's in the truck all the time. So, well, have a wonderful week. I may do another Stitch With Me next Tuesday, which is my time, which will be Wednesday in the US. I think England will be Tuesday in New Zealand, Australia. I think I'm going to work on my Cosmic Wolf because I definitely want to work on that weekly, or it will be my mini butterfly effect, because I want to get progress on both of those. It's definitely nice to see the progress. I'm just cutting off my knot that I started my thread with. I find that the easiest way to start my threads if I'm not going to flip over, and I do a wee pin stitch further over to make sure that my thread is definitely pinned down and it's not going to come loose. Normally if I'm not videoing it, I will thread down under at the back, but if I'm videoing it, that's how I do it. Most of the time I flip over, so I just can't get over the details with this piece. So I think if anybody is disappointed with their designer, they should look around for other designers, because there's so many designers out there, like the Cross Stitch Studio, there's Artisy, there's Heaven and Earth, there's Paine Crafts, there's Tilton Crafts, there's so many. So if there's one designer that you don't like, just try someone else and do a test piece and see if you're happy with them. Because, like I say, with Paine Crafts, I've got several of their pieces and I'm happy with them all. But I have been happy with my Heaven and Earth as well. I think it does depend on what count you do it and how far you stand back from your piece. If you're doing it on a bigger count, like a 18 or a 20 count, you do need to stand back a bit further back, I think, because it's going to look a bit more pixelated than a 25 count, as they suggest. I think that's just logical. To me, it is. That's just my opinion. That's not everybody will agree, but I think that's how I see it. So yeah, I don't think I've been really disappointed with any of my pieces, to be fair. Maybe my expectations aren't high. Maybe being an artist myself, my expectations aren't that high. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.